Hi everyone, I'm here to share to you all my long-term review of my beloved LG V60. So LG V60 is my main device and the currently device that I'm using right now. I usually have like two phones, but then I want to share my experience with my LG V60 for the past year, and for new buyers out there and for people who are looking for a new device or a second device for the year 2021. Here is my take for the LG V60. So for the quick rundown of specs, LG V60 has 6.8-inch OLED screen with 1080p screen, and currently my phone is on Android 11. It has three camera sensors at the back, 64 megapixel main sensor, 13 megapixel and wide angle, and a time of flight camera, and 10 megapixel front facing camera. Processor is 865, Snapdragon 865. It has mine has a 128 gig of storage and an 8 gig of RAM. This is also powered by 5000 milliamp battery. So currently I've checked out through eBay and Amazon. Currently LG V60 is priced for $500 to $700, which is a bit of a steal for the performance. So here are some of my take that I'd like to share to every one of you. I probably would start with the negative ones. So first on my cons list is the LG user interface. The LG user interface is quite okay in most parts, but one thing that I really noticed there first is the presence of the bloatwares, which is kind of annoying at first. I need to disable them and uninstall them. Second is the cartoonish appearance of the user interface. It already grows on me, but then that's the first thing that I notice upon using them. And third, it doesn't offer anything much on the table. Like it doesn't offer anything new. It doesn't offer anything like significant. The user interface alone is just there, but there's nothing new in there. So aside from that, the performance is quite okay. There are some slows down every once in a while, but then it's nothing to do with the processor or the RAM. I think it just has something to do with the LG UI alone. Although on the positive note, I still like the user interface customization and the dual screen integration of the user interface. So second on my cons list is the charging port. So most of you might be wondering why, because the phone that I got is a bit defective. But I noticed that halfway through. Like I've been using the phone mostly using it with a dual screen, and with the magnetic attachment of the dual screen, I was able to charge my phone regularly, and the wireless charging works perfectly fine there too. But then for this one, using the LG V60 supplied cable and charger, I don't have any problem when upon taking off the dual screen case. It works perfectly fine and it charges my phone pretty well. But then the problem starts when you started using other cable for USB-C or for LG V60. I don't know why. I read it on Reddit that most of the early adapters has a problem with the charging port. But then I can't be sure. If you are into wireless charging, that's you will be able to charge your phone. But I don't know. I really don't know how wide the problem is. But then I still considered it as a cons because that's one of the main problem I encountered the past few months. I'll be sending this phone back to get a replacement or repair. But then, like I said, I consider it as a cons because others might encounter the same problem. But then others on Reddit told me that it's only for early adopters. But then for me, I still consider it as a cons because the chances are still there of getting a problematic charging port. So this is just what it looks like charging my phone using a different charger. This is a kind of annoyance that it's okay, but then when it hits you, it's really annoying. But then, as you can see, it's charged, then it stops. Next on my cons list is the after purchase support. LG promised a 3-year software support for LG V60 and 2-year hardware support for LG V60. Despite of the promise, I'm still a little bit worried about first the software that sometimes there are times wherein a software gets a bug or a problem in the UI that needs patches along the way. So as we all know, LG Mobile division is no longer existing, and I am a little bit worried when, for example, we've encountered problems about the operating system or the patches of the user interface. I hope they'll still be able to, send out patches for those problems. And lastly, the hardware support. I hope they'll keep that promise in the future. Moving down on the positive note, one real advantage that I really want to emphasize here is the multitasking capabilities of the LG V60. So, as a student, I really admire how LG come up with the idea of pen support and the Nebo integration to some LG devices and the quick note. I really love how I was able to do digital note taking at the same time watching the recorded videos from my professor, which is really helpful. Which is really helpful for students like me. So one good advantage of dual screen is mostly the multitasking. Like for me as a student, that's one very important stuff that I do. So for example, I am using for example, I'm reading my book. So and I'm jotting down notes. Let me just erase those stuff. But then I wanted to use my calculator too. So the best thing to do it is to do multitasking here. Press multi-window and open my calculator. So through that I'll be able to do I will be able to do the example from the book. Using the dual screen case is would really help you maximize your multitasking skills, like watching videos, jotting down notes, or reading an ebook. Would really help you maximize all the things that you need to do in one page or in two page. But then it also has like a cons. Like in my case, the accessibility of the volume rocker is one of the issue. And when you are using it flat on the table, there's no problem using it. But then when you wanted to adjust the volume, which is on the side of the phone, that's where the problem starts to sink in, especially if you were still on the phase of adjusting from using a single-handed device to a dual screen device. So multitasking is great, but it takes some time to get used to. The volume rocker on the side feels a bit uncomfortable at first, but then you will get used to it. But then, I still hope that they had made that accessible. But then, that's one disadvantage. But then aside from that, everything works perfectly well for me. The game When it comes to gaming performance of the dual screen, it performed quite well when you play Asphalt or PUBG, for example. But then playing the dual screen with the use of the gamepad, the custom made gamepad for MOBA games, it doesn't perform quite well because there are some delays here and there. But then the whole performance for the gaming experience is quite good in MOBA games when you play the phone on its own. Like it doesn't lag, it doesn't overheat. Sometimes it warms up, but then it's not really that worrisome. I still find this phone a beast when it comes to playing games, especially the MOBA games, in my experience. So, to wrap this baby up, if you would still ask me if I would still recommend LG V60 for the year 2021, it may not be for everybody, but if you are a person who are, for example, if you were a student who values gaming, gaming performance, but still wanted to save money, then LG V60 is a good candidate for you. If you are a person who values multitasking, or if you are a person who is looking for a secondary device on a cheaper price, then LG V60 is something that you should consider too. It is not the best, but I considered it as a jack of all trades, master of none. It is a very capable device. It has a great build quality. It has great stereo speakers, supports 3.5 millimeter jack. It has a very capable processor. It doesn't have. It is a multitasking beast and a long battery life. But then there are some cons too. An okay camera, an okay software, and the uncertainty of the hardware and software support. Although LG promised something about it, but then you can't take that away from people who wanted a secured phone that they might be using for long period of time. But then for me, what makes LG V60 great is that it was able to hit the sweet spot between performance and endurance in a cheaper price. It may not have the high refresh rates, but then I don't consider that as something of a big deal for me because the phone itself was able to perform the Snapdragon 865, performs powerful tasks and gaming capabilities, while the 5000 milliamp battery gives you an endurance that would last for a long day. And although high refresh is always nice to have, but for the price of these phones and the performance, I think it's okay not to have it. At the end of this video, I will be showing some of the photos taken by my LG V60. Thank you guys for watching my long-term review and I hope you have a great day.